Right. Good to see all of you. Hello to everybody joining in live, and hello to everybody who's watching from home later. I guess you're all watching from home or at work or wherever you are in the world, which, by the way, for those of you tuning in live, let us know in the chat where you're tuning in from and what you do for a living. I'm stoked to get started, and we should probably say hello to folks that are tuning in live. Yes, Stephanie?
Absolutely. Special shout out to our A-team members. That's Accelerator members. We got Jacob, I see Spencer, and I see Eva and Jesse.
Right
So
on.
special shout out to them. But also we've got Cat Spirito from Lithuania. Pew
Wow.
Pew Hamster. I love that. It's got the image and all from Italy.
Love
There
it.
we go. Hey, Mark Goodkin, we've got another A-team member in the house. Jan Kal from Paris. Welcome, welcome. TN Films from Cyprus. Wow. We've got Xavier in the house. We will be looking at his website. He is
Woohoo.
another A-team member. Jose Miguel from Bolivia. Welcome, welcome.
Right. Once again, everybody, thank you for tuning in. This is one of my favorite things to do every single month is to take a look at the best of the best portfolios that get submitted as a part of our Accelerator program. And I'm stoked to dig in. So let us take a look at what we're going to cover today. Here's our agenda. First, we're going to introduce ourselves because maybe you're new here. Maybe this is the first time that you've ever heard of the future. I doubt it.
Welcome.
But you're welcome here. So we're going to introduce ourselves. Then we're going to get into the review goals and criteria, because if we're going to critique portfolios, it's got to be more than, hey, I like this, I don't like this. We have to have some spine, some backbone to review the portfolios against. Then we're going to go over our handy self-critique guide. Stephanie's going to be walking you through that, how to take a look at your own work. And then finally, and probably the most important, we're going to get into some portfolio website reviews. Now, if you've been to one of our critiques before, you'll notice that we're following the same exact sequence here, and that's intentional. It's important to be consistent with the way that we review work. And if this is your first time here, welcome. There are more critiques just like this on the channel. Before we dig in, though, I want to remind you that during this live stream, and only for those of you who are tuning in live today, we are going to be doing a giveaway.
Oh, hey, I forgot. Yay,
Yeah.
giveaway. I was like, what are we doing?
So your odds are good. They're certainly better than playing the lotto. I think that we've got about 60 people here live. Stay tuned until the end of the broadcast, and we're going to be issuing forth a trivia question. And the first two people that put the right answer in the chat, they are going to be gifted a copy of the brand style guide kit. Now, I wrote this as a template. It's a template and a guidebook that teaches you how to deliver brands to your clients and create a style guide, which is basically the recipe, the instruction manual for the brand. So that's that. All right, let's get into some introductions. My name is Ben Burns, and I'm a designer by trade. And I love making stuff. My passion is to help creatives and creative thinkers just like you make a living on your own terms. Now, I coach and teach creatives who are at the beginning of their journey find traction in their businesses, whether that's a side hustle or a full-time gig. And the last decade for me has been a wild ride. I went from being a narcotics agent to being a design freelancer, to starting my own studio, to joining the incredible team at Blind. And now I find myself in the fortunate position as the chief operating officer here at The Futur. Now, if you've been around The Futur for any span of time, you probably know me, but you might not know the incredible human next to me or below me.
I think I'm below you.
She is my co-author for Accelerator, a talented lettering artist and a rock star, both literally and metaphorically. She's also our director of education here at The Futur. So please give Stephanie a round of applause in the chat.
Hey, guys. Good to be here, guys. Nice to see so many familiar faces. I am Stephanie. Like Ben said, I'm the education director here at the Future. I help with launches and the Accelerator program, but I'm also a creative service provider, just like you guys. I have my own studio, Gold Sheep Design, with my husband, who you can see here. He is the illustrator to my lettering artist, the bass player to my guitar player, and together we've worked with some really cool brands. We've done licensing work for Star Wars, Marvel, DC. We also do a lot of personal work that gets us that, those paid gigs. And that's what I love teaching so much inside of the Accelerator, is how to position your portfolio in a way that attracts the types of clients that you want. And in our case, we put some Star Wars work and some Marvel work and some DC work up onto a website. And lo and behold, results may vary, but those people saw it and did hire us. But also, I love talking about lead gen inside of Accelerator and how to, it doesn't have to just be inbound, it doesn't have to just be social media. There are so many ways to get leads for your business, and it all starts with a rock star portfolio and trying a lot of different things to try to figure out your secret sauce for lead generation. And that's really what I love teaching inside of Accelerator. But today we're going to be really zeroing in on portfolios, because sometimes we take it for granted that they really are that important to growing your business and getting clients. Your work has to stand up to a certain level to get the types of clients that you want, and it has to show the work that you want. So we're going to be looking at that today with a couple of Accelerator members.
Absolutely. Thanks, Steph.
Yep.
So you might be wondering, why are we here? Why are we doing this? Why do we exist as the Future? Well, it really boils down to this. We want to help you make a living doing what you love. And we power this mission by educating. And we give away as much content as we can on social media. And we work really hard at creating practical and effective paid products like courses and toolkits and memberships that'll help you design and build the life that you want. And what Stephanie and I have been working on for over a year now is our Future Accelerator program. Now, this is our baby. Accelerator is a step-by-step blueprint coaching program that includes video content, resources, templates, community, real-world feedback on your work, and weekly coaching calls. And so far, we've been able to help folks generate hundreds of thousands in revenue, maybe even millions at this point. Honestly, I don't know. But we see wins every single week of somebody landing a $10,000 project, a $15,000 project, and working with their dream clients. If you're a member of Accelerator, do me a favor and just say hello or raise your hand in the chat. Would love to say hey to you on this stream. And here's the thing.
I saw Lolly, and I saw Leah Lewitt as well. So a couple of other familiar faces. Hey to our
Alex
18
there,
members.
yeah. Spencer.
Oh, Alex. Hey, Alex. Good to see you. Oh, we got Esteban. I know that. I know that face.
All right.
Yeah, Xavier's here. Welcome.
Zorka, hello. Okay.
Hello.
Here's the crazy thing. It's a huge list of stuff that we're doing for these members, and we figured out a way to do it all for $99 a month. So all of our websites today have come from our Accelerator members. Now, as a member, you get to send us work and we give you feedback. And we've decided to do this in public because our members are extremely talented and we want to give them as much of a platform as we can. We're trying to shout from the rooftops when we see somebody with incredible work. So if you want to learn more about Accelerator, I want to invite you to a tour. Here's the link. And I would love to have you spend an hour or so with us. And we're going to show you around behind the scenes and give you a detailed look at what it means to be an Accelerator member. Now, we do these every other week or so. And if you tune in live, you'll have a chance to win even more door prizes and ask us questions about the program. Now, the next one is this Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern or 12 o'clock Pacific, which I believe, it's the same time as this stream. So, and just a note for those of you guys who are tuning in later, you can always watch a recording of it. Use this link. We'd love to have you take a peek inside of that program. All right, let's get down to business. I
just want to say real quick, Jesse says do Accelerator instead of design school, and Leo says literally doing the Accelerator program instead of grad school.
No shade on universities, but I
You're
agree.
also saving a packet of money, a bundle.
Yeah. And so we'll get into some questions and stuff real quick before we delve into our purpose here. There was one person that asked about the Accelerator or the Future Academy community. We've closed that community simply because we didn't see a whole bunch of activity in there. So when a community is inactive, it is wide open for abuse. So if you're wondering where that went, we sent out a few emails letting everybody know that we were sunsetting that, and we've shuttered those doors. I also want to say hello to a personal buddy of mine, Benton Woodring. He's in the chat. Benton, say hello. If you're not following Benton on Twitter, please do so.
What's up, Benton? He's not my buddy. He's your buddy, but I'm going to say hi to him anyway.
Yeah. All right. So here's the deal. The purpose of having a portfolio is to bring in more work, right? Your work has to work for you. So that's the lens that we're going to be using today. Portfolios that you can use to get clients, and maybe even portfolios that'll get you a job. All right. So how are we going to evaluate these things? We basically have 3 points that we review these sites on. The first is, can we understand what you do? Right? Sometimes we'll click on a site and it'll have a positioning statement at the top of the site on the hero banner that just kind of reads like, I help tell creative stories. And that seems a little vague. Sometimes we're not really understanding what services you provide, what value you give to your clients, right? So we need a very clear understanding what it is you offer. Number 2, is there proof that you can do this? Stephanie, how do we prove that we can do what we say we can do?
It's not a thought leadership reel. It's your portfolio, a body of work, whether we call that case studies or portfolio pieces. I think there's a lot of splitting hairs over what we call it. A body of work that shows you can do what it is you do. And I think that right there, along with this next point, is going to go a long way in helping people understand what you do. The portfolio itself will help tell people what you do.
That's right. And then finally, is the proof compelling, right? Now that's a $2 word there. I totally understand. Compelling can mean a lot of different things. So what do we mean by that? Well, do we have context, right? Do we understand the problem that you were trying to solve? Do we understand the context of the brief? Do we understand if it's a personal project or a client related project? Do we understand if you accomplish the mission or if you hit the nail on the head with the aesthetics or the impact that you were asked to provide? Number 2, is this easy to understand? So many times I'll take a look at a portfolio piece and it'll be a whole bunch of images and I will have no way of knowing what you did there, right? Was this AI? Did you craft everything from scratch? Is it easy to understand what service you provided in the course of this project? And then finally, does it inspire want or need? It could be the coolest, most creative piece of work in the world. But if it doesn't make me want to click, if it doesn't make me want to sign up for your discovery call, or if it doesn't make me want to reach out and contact you, that's a problem, right? Because our portfolio is a sales tool. It's meant to draw people in. Okay, so that's what we mean by compelling.
And
There's
just
one
something to
more.
add there
Go for it.
before we get into the bonus. Personal work can be compelling. I'm going to get on my soapbox for a sec. So many times people don't want to put their personal work in their portfolio because they think it's less than client work. But we all know clients F up projects all the time. Can I get an amen in the chat? I already know that the amens are going to be coming. Clients mess up projects.
Praise hands.
Praise. She speaks the truth. And with personal work, you are 100% in charge. And the personal work is oftentimes the projects that get the clients that you really want. Because if you're just relying upon those clients that drove you nuts and the work that you were like, it's all right, to get you the work that you really want, you have a huge gap in your portfolio between the client work and the work you really want. And the way to bridge that gap is personal work. And it's not less than, not at all. And when it comes down to it, does it inspire a want or a need? There's a couple of ways of looking at this. As someone who runs an illustration studio, that desire is, damn, that's some really fine looking illustrations. I want that for my business. I want that on my merch. I want that for my cover art. But there's also the impact need. And this is if you are in marketing, if you offer SEO services, I'm not going to hire you because your website looks really cool. The compelling part of your proof is you have gotten quantifiable results for clients in the past. So that sort of compelling proof is going to look different depending upon what service it is you're providing.
Absolutely. Thanks, Steph.
Yeah,
All
no
right.
problem.
So here's a little bonus criteria that we throw in here. Do we catch your vibe?
Vibes. Do we get your vibes? Are we
Right?
picking up what you're putting down? Yeah, that's it.
Are you presenting yourself and your work in a consistent manner? And that can be really tricky, right? Especially when and if you think that every project that you do for clients has to go in your portfolio.
Oh, it
Remember,
does not.
it
Don't do
doesn't.
it.
The
No.
portfolio, it is not a historical record of the work that you've done. It's not a CV. It's a marketing tool. Even if you're looking for a job, so you can curate what projects belong in your portfolio. And the worst thing in the world is to see a portfolio that's full of stuff that's completely different. Maybe it's an aesthetic that just feels completely out of place from the rest of the work, or maybe it's you've got two case studies that are completely impact driven, and then one that's aesthetic and it takes us in the opposite direction. We got to catch your vibe. And that goes for the branding too, right? The way that the portfolio is designed. Do we understand the image that you're trying to present? So that vibe thing is so important. All right. Now, weighing yourself or measuring yourself against this criteria can be a little tricky to do on your own, but we're going to give you guys an easy to use framework for self-critique right at the end of the call. But now I think we should dig into a website. Steph?
Let's go. Both of our A team members are here. Both Accelerator members are here. So I'm glad. I like it when they're here so they can respond to it. We're going to look at Xavier's and JP's today.
Yes.
Ooh,
Right.
we've got some vibes. I already know his site has vibes.
Here we go.
Because we know these members.
Here. All right. So we've got Xavier's portfolio. So we've got I'll go ahead and scroll through this before narrating anything. I love a good accordion. Okay, so we've got a good homepage that surfaces what we need. Our nav is super simple. We've got projects, process, about. Great photo. And
What happens
contact.
when you live in Paris? You just walk outside and get good photos. Oh, I like that. I like that. I like how you're using that as you're using your contact form as another way to show off your capabilities as an illustrator and lettering artist. Nice.
Very cool. All right, let's go back to the homepage. Okay, so we've got this really neat photo composition of the word welcome in the background, photo of you. I think that this hero image does a couple of really interesting things. Number one, it shows off your capabilities, right? It shows what you can do without having to explain anything. Like we're looking at it. Number two, it's full of personality. Like I'm catching the vibe that you're putting out. So I can appreciate that. Scroll down. Hi, I'm Xavier. I'm a creative with a focus on branding and illustration. I'm here to help athletes, teams, and the rest of the sports industry win on and off the field. All right, these look clickable. They're not. No worries. So we've got an area for featured projects, and then a link to about and services. So I think all in all, It's a strong homepage. As far as the website design, I think that there's some things that we can improve, like the use of space. I think there's a lot of negative space, and some of the type seems a little bit swallowed by all the negative space. But once again, you know, as an illustrator and as somebody who focuses on branding, illustration, and lettering, I don't expect to see a site that's full of interactive features. I don't expect to see a site that's like chock full of fanciness. Um, we get right to the work, and I can appreciate that. All right, Steph, where do you want to go?
I think let's just stay here on the homepage for a sec.
Okay.
I think for me, like if you scroll up, go to like very first impressions. I think I would love to know immediately a little bit more of your capabilities. I actually really like the way that you've described how you what you do right there. I think moving that, like Ben said, the empty space that might just help it if you just get rid of some of that space. I also know that you have been, Xavier, dipping your toes into animation. So I think it's time to maybe implement some of that, and maybe on your hero banner, maybe welcome can turn into branding, can turn into illustration. It could say various things so people know what. Just I'm just spitballing here. It'll change to an animation you're currently working. All right, cool, cool. I can't wait to see it. So
That's
I think,
interesting that you bring that up, though, Steph, because I had no idea. Like, I had no idea that Xavier was in
yeah,
animation.
I knew that because I know Xavier, and I know he's been working hard on learning animation. So I was just throwing out, I think it would be cool to see some sort of animated hero banner that kind of shows a bit more of your capabilities, because I think what I'm missing from that hero banner is your illustration skills. And then if we go down a bit, I also think dumb belly clothing. I know this project because it was your personal project that you actually turned into a clothing line that you've launched in Accelerator. Like, you did this project in Accelerator, which is super cool. I think that image isn't the best image to showcase that project, because you have some super dope t-shirt designs that you've done, and I think that's more impactful than the packaging itself. Like the mark is beautiful, but I think it's small, it's on that mock-up. We like mock-ups, but I think for the homepage, using one of those illustrations that you've done for the shirts would be more impactful, more enticing to click on.
I think also when you look at it in the grid here, compared to the other 3 projects,
It's not as
I mean, this
dynamic.
one's just wild. We've got super bright colors and a human here. We've got another human here. This feels like, I don't know, that it's on a different level than these 3. I'd
Mhm.
rather see a thumbnail that attracts a click, here.
And I know that project. Because I know that project, I know that's not the best image. But of those 4, that's the one I'm gonna click on last, because it's not as dynamic as the other 3, and your work is very dynamic. Alright,
So,
cool.
as far as featured products go, I like the thumbnails for the most part. Like, this is the only one that I could see improving. But, I wanna know, kind of at a glance, the client name and then some of the services that we provide. So usually what happens is that stuff shows up if you're hovering over, maybe it's like this card has some text that shows up when you hover on it. But I need some context, because if I'm not looking for a specific aesthetic, and maybe I'm like, I don't know, um, an apparel company, I'm going to want to know what services are in this before I click on it. So you got to give me some kind of indication of what I'm supposed to receive in addition to just the aesthetic thumbnail. So we need some information here in addition to the thumbnail. Okay, moving down. About me, I think this is a really nice photo of you, and as far as the text photo balance, I think it's pretty good. I would love to see a little bit more personality here. You showed us your
Mhm.
capabilities here, and I would love to see something like this on the homepage, because I think that this is,
It's buried. It's
yeah,
buried in this
we'll
in
hide it.
the contact, and that's the coolest picture of you of all of them because you drew on it.
Yep. So let's I would swap those, honestly. If we're working with limited assets, either that or draw on this one too.
Draw on just draw. I just want to. I think that's what I want from Xavier. I want more. I want more of what you're best at, and you're best at that really bold, dynamic design and illustration style.
hmm And I think that, like, again, I recognize that you're not offering web design as a service, but there's so much opportunity through your app, through your actual website, to communicate some of those vibes, where it's like all of these like cool, illustrative, sketchy, graffiti style elements. We could sprinkle those around the
Mhm.
site. Like, we could use those to decorate the website, and that'll just further reinforce the vibe that that's in your capabilities deck, that's in the work that you do, that's all over your social media. I'm just missing that little element of you on the site design. Okay, so that goes directly to your Calendly link. That's cool. And then we've got the accordion. Again, I love a good accordion. It's great. The purpose of this is to, I guess, conceal or hide text that the average user is not going to want to read. And so when you have an accordion here, it's tempting to use these because they're interactive and fun. But what you don't want to do is hide copy that's essential to the message that you're trying to portray, or that you're trying to deliver to your website visitors. So a description of brand strategy, a description of brand identity design, logo design. I think I would rather see those surfaced on the page, maybe a little bit more brief than 3 lines, like keep it 2 lines. Um, but I would bring that copy out of the accordion. Don't hide it, so that maybe somebody who doesn't know what brand strategy is, who doesn't bother to click on it, they're going to miss that. So we want to communicate the entire message, especially if it's as short as a sentence or two on the page.
I get what he's. I get why you're doing it. I think I might differ a little bit from this. Maybe it's just maybe the accordion isn't the best way to present this, but I do understand that as an illustrator and a brand identity designer and a logo designer, you're helping people like whittle out what they aren't looking for. But I think a lot of people, this is where I think the accordion is hurting. I think a lot of clients aren't going to know the difference between brand strategy, brand identity design, and logo design. And then some people will just want to go straight to illustration. So I'm just wondering if there's another way that you can show this. And because your visuals are so impactful, if there's a way that, and we talk about this in Accelerator to clients, we call it branding. We just call it branding. I know in the world of design, I have been shunned forever because I didn't use identity design. I said branding could possibly be identity design. But I'm talking about if I'm a client, and I think this is where the design community needs to sort of just like have a little bit of ego death. Not that I'm saying Xavier has this, but I'm just like, let it go when someone is when it is saying they do branding, because that makes sense to the client. Clients do not know what identity design is. They don't know what brand identity design is. And they just say, I want some branding. And they probably mean like they want some colors and fonts and a logo. So I think, Xavier, while I appreciate you trying to like segment and have people self select, I think some people aren't going to know what to self select because they aren't going to know the difference between those top three. So I think this is where you could also on your homepage show projects that fit into branding and show projects that fit into illustration and have them be different sections rather than just saying, here's some work. Um, and have those sections on your homepage so people could be like, oh, I don't need branding, but I do need illustration, because people will need illustration more than they will need branding. I know, shocking, because we all want to be brand designers, but brands need more illustration than they do branding, because they do branding like do you have your drawing nearby?
I don't, not today.
Brands only need branding once or twice in the course of their company. Maybe 3 times. But I think just having those sections so people could say, "Oh yeah, I need branding. Oh yeah, I need illustration." You know? And I think for you, illustration, you're going to be adding animation, and you're going to be adding, and you already do lettering. So I think you're sort of moving into the realm of commercial art. So I think that could be a nice add to the website as well, once you have more of your animation.
So I'm going to click into one of these projects and I'm going to ask the audience a question. Take a look at the level of illustration that's in this project. Now, if you are a web designer, right? If you are someone who designs websites for clients, wouldn't you love to have an illustrator on your team that can provide you assets like this to make your site even better? Like, wouldn't that be the dream for you, to work with an illustrator as talented as Xavier? Go ahead and put your answer in the chat. Let me know what you think there. In my mind, doing websites, the bane of my existence is asset
Assets.
creation. Asset creation. Now, granted, there's some stuff that I can do myself. There's some stuff that I can, you know, find online. There's some stock stuff that we can pull in. But
Oh, don't say it. Don't say stuff. Don't say.
having great assets makes or breaks a web design. So, Xavier, I think one of the things that you could really benefit from is to find a web designer that you can barter with. Because I think if you guys swap services, barter services for each other, and collaborate on this thing, they could take the site design to a whole new level, right? Using the illustrations that you can provide, and vice versa. So, if you feel like this is you, put your information in the chat, and you guys can trade services. Because I think that there's so many opportunities to make this section way more interesting than it is right now. One route is, if you really want to hide the stuff, if you really want to hide the descriptions, make these super rich so that when we interact with this and open this up, there's examples, like Stephanie was saying, of brand strategy, visuals that communicate what it means. Make those tabs that you're opening here, those drawers, really stand out. So I think that working with a web designer can enable you to do that stuff. All right, let's go to process. We'll get to projects here in a second. All right, my working process. Oh, look at this. That's a good question. You confused about what brand strategy is? It's good.
Everybody is.
Brand strategy, brand identity design, logo design. All right, I'm scrolling through. Chat, I want you guys to make one big recommendation on what Xavier can do on this page on his site. Make one massive recommendation.
You already know
where's
what mine
the
is.
opportunity?
You know what mine is.
Yeah. I think we're all going to say the same thing. When you're scrolling through the process, what's one thing that we can do here that's going to make this more interesting? Add visuals, examples.
Add examples.
Yes. Oh man, this page is,
Xavier, your visuals are what you are selling.
Yes.
You are selling mad visuals. And I feel so far throughout your website as a whole, but especially this page, it's not coming through that you do such amazing visuals. It's like, I shouldn't have to click into a case study to see how good you are. I should just see it throughout the entire site. And this page is a big missed opportunity because there are none. And also, don't make me read. Don't make me do it.
Alex says pics or it didn't happen. I love
There
that.
we go. Alex knows. Alex knows.
No, but that's one of the most challenging parts of any kind of design is to take a concept, is to take a group of words and then turn it into visuals. Now, examples is one thing, but what if you were to illustrate these steps? Could you turn target audience into a really rad illustration? Could you turn brand personality into a really rad illustration? Something that either when you see it makes you want to read about it because it's so interesting, or when you see it, it instantly explains the concept. So I think that the visual communication here, or the tying the information to visuals, is what I would recommend on this page, because otherwise it just
Something
kind of feels like homework.
something else to think about. I think this doesn't read to me like a process. Is that the name of this page? Is this the process?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. This doesn't read to me like a process simply because you have illustration at the end. And I'm not sure if everyone who's going to be hiring you to do brand strategy is going to be hiring you to do illustration, and vice versa. There are some people who will just hire you to do illustration. No, coming from a studio who sells just illustration to clients, they never ask for brand strategy because they came to us for illustration. So this is reading to me more like a list of capabilities rather than a process that you are walking the client through.
Yeah. Here, let's do my. Bam, fixed it.
There you go. And just change process to services. And I think a process page is helpful, especially if you are selling branding, umbrella term, because that way you can walk people through. Like, you could have like one of your services be branding, and then you could have like another button that says learn more about my branding process if people wanted to. Then that way they could see that it starts with some sort of strategic discovery, it moves into like designing the identity and also logos, and then that way you can really like dig deep into what a branding project looks like. But then there are also going to be people who come to you just for illustration, just for merch design, just for editorial, and they just want that. They just want cool swag. They already have a logo, and they're not going to hire you to do their logo. They're going to hire you to do the illustrations for their company.
You don't want to give anybody an obstacle that would prevent them from working with you. And if it looks like they have to hire
Yeah.
you for the whole process,
Mm-hmm.
that might prevent them from hitting the button.
So looking at this from a client's perspective, if I landed on this and it said process and it started with brand strategy, and I just want you to design me a dope ass t-shirt. Am I allowed to say that word on YouTube? Anyway, I said it. It's over. And I'm like, brand strategy, but I don't need that. I just need a dope shirt. So I think capability. It's more
I'll show you an
services.
example
Yeah.
of someone who does this really well. And we did a full review of his website on our first.
Mr. Daniel Pohl.
Yes, Mr. Daniel Pohl, on our first critique. So if we go to services, right, and we learn more about packaging design, you can see how he's visually showing us what's going on. We've got services include, we've got examples.
Why you should invest.
Right. So I think that if you can use this page as kind of like a springboard, this is how not only you can tell them about the services and convince them, hey, you probably need this, but you can also link out to case studies here, like Daniel's done. So lots of opportunities on the process page.
I was just thinking the same thing, Xavier. You had this logo before Twitter. Xavier's had that logo forever. Elon Musk lawsuit coming your way.
All right, let's go to projects. Steph, which one do you want to go to?
Well, before we get started, I think this is an opportunity where I would love for the images. I know I'm going to say it. I would like for them to be bigger. just because I want to see more detail.
Ladies and
I know,
gentlemen,
and I said the
Miss
logo should
Stephanie
be big.
Owens just told a member
Make
to
the
make the
logo
logo
bigger.
bigger.
It's true. But I also think because you do different types of work, you have lettering, you have identity design, we're just going to call it branding. I'm making all the mistakes today, guys. This is how clients see it. Clients are going to be like, I wish I could see that bit. They're going to be like, what's that? Like they just want to see it bigger. I also think it would be really great to have some sort of way to sort this at the top, or like all, and or like Ben was saying, some sort of way to know the services provided for that project. So it could be a sort, but you could also indicate with the image that you did the logo design, you did pattern design, you did illustration work, whatever. Because you can do a lot of different things, but being able to tell people want to know exactly which project is showing what they need from you. Let's go to the not the last one because that looks like a just like a logo roundup. Let's go to the octopus guitar looking thing.
All right, so here's another bucket. We've got illustrations. Illustrations are a big part of my design work. Made standalone illustrations for various clients, and I love doing some personal projects for fun.
Nice.
That is gorgeous.
Of course it is. It's got a UFO on it. Oh, this has got major Krumbin vibes.
Ooh,
cool.
We got the grain. Stephanie, you've done some stuff like this, right? Recently?
I have. Yeah, I think this project is multiple projects. I think this is like a bucket roundup of your illustrations, and I would love to see either all of those built out onto their own page, or pick your favorite ones and build them out onto their own pages.
Yeah.
Tell me about the brief, give me an insight into your process, put it on some mock-ups so we can see in use, because as an illustrator, you are in prime position to be hired by art directors at agencies, but they need to see or even have your work picked up for licensing. But they need to see the work in use, how it would be used in the world. So I think I know I'm asking a lot for you to do all of these. It doesn't have to be all of these, but I think one at a time you need to start, and you also like evaluate, is this, and we're going to get into how to evaluate your work, but evaluate all of these pieces. You might want to take that's hilarious. Steal like an artist. Twitter. Okay, I think we're onto a pattern with Xavier. He's like, Twitter stole my logo and stole my style. Okay, Xavier, sure. But I think just start to slowly turn all of these into their own pages.
Yeah, here's a couple ways to do this. Number one, illustration is really focused on style, right? If you see a body of work like yours, Xavier, and I'm a creative director and I'm looking for a very specific style, I would definitely hire you for this, right? Because there's multiple examples that you can do this stuff. But I would probably have a hard time hiring you for this, because there's only one thing in a complete portfolio that looks like this. And so you can chop it up according to style, right?
Mhm.
Or another thing that you can do is like this. This looks like this hand-rolled indica joints for Farday. This looks like a kind of a one-off client project. And that's totally cool. You can still create a case study that's dedicated to this and show the iterations that you took to arrive at this point. That shows me as a creative director that you can produce more work that looks like this. You can also extend this project. So a lot of times for we designers and illustrators and creatives, we're like, oh man, if only I was allowed to take this packaging and turn it into a tablecloth and to make apparel out of it. Oh my God, I could have done so much if the client let me. But the thing is this is your portfolio. And so you can take a project from a client, write up a case study about the one-off illustration that you did, and then at the end of the case study, say, I was so enthusiastic about this design. I loved this style so much that I went ahead and went off on my own and explored a whole bunch of different ways that this could be iterated. Here's some of my personal explorations that were inspired by this client. And then you list out and you show all of the other things that you could have done. And so we don't have to be restricted by the client's scope. We just have to be honest where the scope began, ended, and then where our personal project began. So that's a great way to make a fairly complete case study out of a one-off illustration.
And I know this, Ben might not agree with this, but this is what I do on Gold Sheep is I don't always have time to build out a full case study for every project that I do. But I do want to get that work onto my website as soon as possible in case and have it be on its own page rather than a roundup like this. Because when they land, when someone comes to our website and they land on our portfolio, I want them to see a gallery of capabilities. It's like a capabilities list can only go so far because as an illustrator, you have different you work in different styles. So to be able to see sort of like a big overview of all of your styles, so I could be like, oh, that one and that one, even if the actual case study page isn't fully built out yet and you plan on going back to it later and building out those mock-ups and talking about your process and doing more writing about it, even just getting everything onto its own page as soon as you can. So when people land on this projects page, they have a much bigger idea because right now I'm getting a very different idea of what your work is, what your capabilities are than the stuff that we just saw.
Mm-hmm.
And so I also think that, oh shoot, what was my thought? I lost
While you're
it.
thinking of
Anyway.
that,
Yeah.
one thing that you could do, this is what we did at Blind. We separated case studies and portfolio pieces because sometimes at Blind we were hired by bigger agencies. We would come in, we would make a video, or we would do some motion design or some animation, and then that's it. That's all we would do, contribute to that project. And so we didn't feel like those would warrant an entire case study. And so on our projects or on our work page, we would have a heading that said case studies, where every single thing that you could click on here would take you to a dedicated case study page for that project. But then under that, we had portfolio. And these were kind of just a grid of one-off pieces of work that we did. That's another way that you could do that. And I would love to see this breadth of work here on that work page so that we could see all the things that you're capable of. Because wow, right? Your range is huge.
I remembered my thought. Thank you for filling in for me. Art directors want to see a lot of projects from illustrators and lettering artists, anyone in the kind of umbrella of commercial artists. You are creating art to be used for commercial purposes. And I would put a lot of your work, you have a lot of branding work, but you have a lot of commercial artwork. And while Ben and I, we don't want anyone to ever feel like they're stuck in portfolio land forever and can't move forward in their business and get clients. So we always like to say, like, if you have 3 really great projects, you're in a really good spot to start getting clients. However, as a commercial, if you are offering a commercial art service like you are with your illustration and lettering work, art directors who are going to be hiring you want to see more. They don't want to just see 3 projects. They want to see a lot of projects. They want to see your full capabilities as an artist. So that's where I would recommend more projects for you. Get them out of this little like roundup.
The bucket, yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, like, out of all the work that you showed in here, this is okay, I'm gonna say something. This is me coming from I am not an illustrator, so grain of salt here. But I would say out of these, I think you picked the weakest one for the thumbnail out of all of them. There's so much more, I guess, personally attractive work in this bucket. And if the art director that's on your site is looking for a style like this or this, they're not going to see that through this image. So think about when you're scrolling through YouTube. You're scrolling through YouTube, you find a video, you see the thumbnail and the title, and that is supposed to indicate what the video contains. And when you click on it, if it's something completely different or if it's way more or way less than you expected, that misalignment of expectation is going to cause some dissonance. It's going to be a little upsetting, right? That's where clickbait comes from. So that's the danger of having buckets like this, and especially when choosing what thumbnail that represents the bucket. All right, let's go back to projects.
Let's look at a branding project.
I'm drawn to these two simply because there's a person in these thumbnails. Like, my eye has trouble even looking at some of the other ones, just because I think we're just drawn to see human face. Like, we're kind of magnetized towards eyeballs. So I want to click on one of these. Let's do Victor here. The athletes. Designing athletes' logos is a way for me to be part of this world. Okay, so this is.
We have more than one athlete here.
Oh.
Same thing. Individual projects is what I would do here too. I think too much is buried within one project, and it makes me think.
Yeah.
Even though these are all, like, you are very good at monograms and coming up with these really cool marks from your own just like mind that aren't based on a font. But I would love to see your work is great. That's the good news. I just think we need to work on presenting it in a way that, people can find what they're looking for. People can really see the full, like, all of what you're able to do, rather than I get the idea of if you were to do a I'm just trying to think of something, like on my site, we have all of our Star Wars work on one page, but this is different identity designs. It's not a collection of illustrations that all go together. So if you did a collection of music, like band posters in a very similar style, and it was a collection, that's when they would all go into one page together, when you're designing in collections. But I really wouldn't consider this designing in a collection, because you're designing different athletes' logos.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there's one really tragic thing that's happening. It's like all of these individual marks are so good, and we can't see them. Like Stephanie says, we need to be able to find these. And if you look at your projects page, you're not surfacing them. And clicking in here,
it makes me think that I'm just going to see. Yeah, it just makes me think that I'm going to see this project is all about Victor on the Spurs when I see it in your grid. But then I click in and I'm like, oh, very different. And they all have different vibes. Even though you have a vibe, each one of these is a different type of mark. And maybe someone's looking for something with an inline and something really dynamic like that one.
Yeah. I'm also missing a whole heck of a lot of context. So let's go back to our portfolio critique criteria here. Is it clear what you do? I think we've established that it's really, really clear. Yeah. I think you can do a little bit more convincing and give us a little bit more context on the services that you provide, but it's very clear the services that you're offering. So good job on that. Did you prove it? Steph, I don't know about you, but I have full faith that Xavier can tackle literally any illustration project on the face of the earth.
Apparently in my style as well.
Yeah. So, you did prove it. And the proof is compelling, but we're missing a lot of the context. We're missing a lot of the context.
And that's part of compelling proof. Yeah.
Right. It looks great, but I'm not sure if these are personal projects. I don't know the story behind them. I don't know if this is something you were hired to do. You know, it's great to see process work in your header graphics here, but I'm missing so much context on literally all of the work that we've seen so far. But
And
I
I
think that
think
there
I
is a
think
case study here.
bringing up process is important as a lettering artist. People don't know that that's not a font, Xavier. You got to show you drawing it. And I know you have the assets because you share a lot of this stuff on your Instagram. So I would start sharing more of images, videos, time lapses, sketches, images of sketches to show that that a lot of the work that you do is not a font.
Mhm. Yeah, process is huge. So I think I found a case study. So let's take a look at Darius Garland. Here's some context, right, about the athlete. Here's a goal: create a brand identity, build a design language. It's huge. I also like, even though this is a lot of negative space, I can appreciate this because sometimes case studies can get a little wordy. Sometimes the balance
Mhm.
between imagery and text is thrown off, and this is very easy to read. So thumbs up for me here. So the concept, okay, here's our list of words that describe this person. Now we're going to be talking about the brand identity. Here it is. Here's a breakdown, very strong. Logo type. I like that you've said, "Hey, this is the typeface I use, but I customized it."
Mhm.
Okay. A lot of logo variations. I think this is where the magic of Xavier starts to
Mhm.
shine, right? It's everything after it's the mark too. The logos are fantastic, but it's everything after the mark
I would
that
move
is
this up.
super interesting.
You don't have to show your work in the order that you did it. I think some of this stuff could be put at the top to really drive home just that eye candy.
Mhm. So again, visuals are on point. I think mixing up a little bit of like context visuals, like mock-ups, or you know, if you're actually printing some of this stuff, being able to grab photos and stuff like that. I think mixing in those things in these big grids of
Yeah.
illustrations would kind of break up. It's not monotonous, but by this point, I'm almost skipping all this stuff to get to what's next.
I feel like I'm also getting all the color right here, and then when you scroll down, it's like all the color's gone when we get to the mock-ups.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you bring those mock-ups up and incorporate them with the colorful work, it won't seem like such a shift.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing that I'm missing is the context around the marketing materials, the collateral that you built, the packaging, the apparel. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of interesting concepts that I'm missing just because you're not writing about it. And I know that you've written about it previously. I know it's made it into your capabilities deck and stuff like that. The website is the perfect place to have more text because if somebody wants to know more about why these things were made, but they don't make it down to the mock-ups, they'll never know, right? So somebody might be confused. I don't know. Maybe they think that this is the final logo that you went with, or that who knows? Who knows where they can kind of lose their way here? But having copy, having your full case study write up next to these images will give us the context that we need. Okay. Did you see any projects that you wanted to visit, Steph?
No,
Or are we
I
good to
think
move
I'm
on?
good. I think we can move on.
All right. Xavier, the work, epic, legendary. You are absolute magic when it comes to illustration, logo design.
Mhm.
You've got that down pat. I would buddy up with a website designer, swap services, because a web designer that knows what they're doing is going to be able to take your work and just make this incredible digital experience from it. So that's my recommendation. And then also more context and make the work easier to find. Stop burying things. That's all I got. Steph, any final thoughts on that?
I think if you start with making things easier to find, that's going to be a big deal.
Yep. All right. Thanks, man. Everything else was really good. There's good call to action. There's a good email address here. All that was good to go. So, Steph, I think it's a good time to go over the self-critique framework. You ready to do that?
Before we do that, can you tell people who may have joined in a little late how they can get their portfolio website critiqued by us? Because I'm seeing people in the chat saying, I would love to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So what we're doing here is we're reviewing submitted work by our Accelerator members. Now, Module 7 covers your portfolio website. So we teach people the fundamentals of building a portfolio website. And in order to move from Module 7 to Module 8, the Accelerator members submit their website for our critique. There's a pass-fail component, and then you can also request a review. And that's what you're watching. So if you want to submit your work, jump in Accelerator. We'd love to have you. This is one of 3 or 4 places where you can get critique on your work as a member. So if you want more information, the URL is here. It's futureaccelerator.com/tour. You can sign up for our tour on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, or watch a recording of the last one.
And we have tours twice a month-ish. So if you missed this one and you want to catch us live, there will be another one.
That's right.
All right. This is how to critique your own work, because I understand not everyone's able to join the Accelerator program and have me and Ben critique your work, or be able to go into the Accelerator and pop your projects in and have future Accelerator members critique your work, because we do that as well. So if you're flying solo and you don't have a mentor to, point out things like Ben and I are doing right now, where can you start? And I want you all to just gather all of your work into one place. It could be a Pinterest board, it could be a Miro board, FigJam board, whatever. Just gather everything. And then from there, ask yourself some questions. And you're going to want to be very honest with yourself. First question: does this represent my level of skill as it is right now? Because if you have projects that are 10 years old and you've been developing your skills, hopefully, over all of those years, or even, I started lettering 4 years ago, I do not show the stuff that I did 4 years ago. It's trash. You're just going to want to say goodbye to it. So if it's not at the skill level that you are at right now, give it a hug, Marie Kondo the heck out of it. Thank it for its service, because it may have got you to where you are right now, but it is bringing down your portfolio. Sometimes those projects actually look really dated, because maybe you did it a long, long time ago when design was very different. Or maybe you were really heavily entrenched in a trend that was 4 years ago, and now it is so 4 years ago that it's like, yeah, you were on that really short-lived craze for a while, and it's just not doing anything for your portfolio. So you've got to put it in the archives. All right, so now you have all of the work that is representative of your skill level right now. Now you got to ask, did this project bring me joy? Did I enjoy doing this? Or was it a nightmare? Ben, would you like to fill them in on a project you did? You could find these in convenience stores.
Yeah. Okay.
And it maybe didn't bring you that much joy, and then I'll share mine.
Okay. Here's the thing. The projects that bring you joy, what we're talking about is the actual work.
The work.
Not so much the client, right? If you had a really negative client, that can sometimes shade the actual work that you enjoyed on the actual project. I actually had the reverse happen. I was very young in my freelance career. I was taking any project that I could, and I wound up working for this delightful gentleman who was wonderful to work with, on sex pill packaging.
I,
And
I don't
it
I don't
wasn't
know
good.
I don't know what's worse. Ben's sex pill packaging or our portable stripper pole logo, which had the silhouette of a woman on a pole, and the client's feedback was not make the logo bigger, it was make the nipples bigger.
Oh no.
So these are am I allowed to say? I'm gonna say it. It's fine. It's fine. So it's like those projects, they don't really, I mean, maybe they bring you do you, boo, right?
Yeah.
They didn't bring us joy. And also, like, there was a time in our careers, my husband and mine, when we worked together, that it's not that we didn't like the clients. We were just getting deeper and deeper into this hole of a style that we absolutely hated. It was very feminine, very floral. It's okay if you like that. It was beautiful work. But my husband and I, if you saw the pictures of us at the beginning, like that, we're rock and roll. We drink whiskey. We're like, you already know I kind of have a mouth. Like, it's just not our vibe. It wasn't the vibe we were going for. But the more and more we put it into our portfolios, the more and more of those projects we got. So, did you enjoy the work? Did the work bring you joy? When you look at it, does it bring you joy? If the answer is no, give it a hug, thank it for its service, and send it on its way. Last one. Do you want more of this work? This one, this is just a yes or no. Like, would you want to be hired for that again? Because you have to put out the work that you want to get hired for. But the reverse is true. You cannot put out the work that you do not want to get hired for, because guess what? You're going to get hired for it. Time and time again, and you're going to wonder, why do I keep getting these projects that I don't want? Because you're advertising, you're marketing yourself as someone who wants more of that. So,
And
easy.
honestly, I don't think anybody wants more sex pill packaging design work. It's just
You might.
right.
You might. Maybe that's your
Zach,
vibe.
I don't know how to take this information in.
Hey, Zach. Fellow A-team member. How's it going, Zach?
So
yeah, okay. Level of skill. Did it bring you joy in the creation of it? And do you want more of it? And for me, I don't want more of certain industries that I've worked in where the clients just weren't a joy and it was indicative of the industry. So we had a tough pill to swallow, my husband and I. We had to burn down our entire portfolio in 2020. We were like, oh, but we looked at it and we were like, I don't want any more of this work. So we got rid of all of it and we built it up again. And now we don't get portable stripper poles and nightmare clients that in industries we don't want to work in.
There we go. All right. So reminder, we're doing that giveaway at the end of the stream. But before we get there, let's go ahead and take a look at one more portfolio. So this one
JP
comes from JP at Carson Meyer. I'm just going to say Carson Meyer. It could be Mayer, but Carson Meyer. All right. So he says, we help brands and businesses become the best version of themselves. This is really attractive to me. I mean, giving the preview of the work to follow is really interesting. I also like that when we're looking at the homepage, when it loads, there's one call to action up here, and it's view our work. They must know if they can get somebody onto a case study, that it's likely that they'll reach out. I also think it's,
I like the scroll. I think the scroll's going a bit too fast for me though.
oh yeah? Okay.
I think you could slow it down a little bit. I like looking at work. So it's like, yeah, maybe just a little bit. Just slow it down a little bit.
I also like this little skull and crossbones down here because it's like
Mhm.
we're corporate, but like
But edgy.
a little edgy, little, it's a little bit of that personality. So
Little vibey.
Carson Mayer is a digital first creative office that builds brands, websites, and media. Ooh, nitpicky thing here. It looks like your ascender is running into your descender here. Might be a little tight on the line height. All right, DTI Architects, Nelson Associates. So we've got some featured projects here. Here's what I like about this grid. We can tell the client, and then we've got this kind of like hook here, right? This headline that's drawing a little bit of attention. Financially sound, visually stunning, a brand with impact, sealing deals in style. Writing headlines like this is an art form, but if you can nail it, it can make a difference. So that's good. I like you're giving context to the grid. It's one thing that we suggested that Xavier does. View more and contact us. I love that. That's great.
Nice and clean.
Okay. Let's go ahead and click this. Explore our projects. Yara Garcia and
While
Abogadas.
I do like the headlines, I kind of want to know what the scope was. So I saw that you did website, brand. What else did they do?
Website and
Websites and
branding.
website and
Branding and
branding.
content.
Okay. Okay. I think if you could get in some way like overview of the services provided, that will also help people find what they're looking for.
And with this layout, because these are all like kind of cards, you could even add little pills on top that just show the services that you offered. Doesn't have to be down here. It can be like a flag that gets attached to this image. Having some kind of filter, like Stephanie said for Xavier up here, where you could filter out the services that you offered the different clients.
Plans
Somebody
on
might
it.
be in a hurry, right?
Yeah, he says he plans on it. Just needs to load more project.
Cool.
Load more of my projects. Yeah, it could even be like a scroll, and it just kind of gives you like it darkens the image and it tells you what the scope was.
So it looks like we've got tons of projects here, and I'm excited to dig in. I do want to point out that just a usability thing, and it could be personal preference. I'm not really sure, but obviously we don't want to add buttons to our grid of cards here. However, we do want to make these clickable because I
Yeah.
clicked on a couple of these and they weren't linked, but the image is linked. So not a huge deal, just a minor suggestion. All right, where do you want to go? What project do you want to look at first?
Let's scroll down. Let's look at the Kudo. Harnessing the power of nature.
Okay. I want you guys to notice something real quick. How quickly did we get into the work on the Carson Mayer site versus the site from Xavier? The route to the work here was a lot quicker. Now, we did spend a little bit of extra time kind of going through every link on Xavier's site, so there's some there. But I'm just constantly being pulled towards the work every step of the way. And I think that that's what you want your visitors to do when they get to their portfolio. Get me on a case study as quickly as possible. Pull me in.
I think having the links to about over to the side, it kind of helps because I didn't see that at first either. Really, there was one way. It was a one-way street into the work.
Yep. Right. Kudo is the ultimate destination for premium kratom products. They're passionate about providing their clients with the highest quality. I don't know what that is. To enhance everyone's well-being and unlock the incredible potential of this botanical treasure. Cool. We got a location here. We've got a summary of services offered. That's really neat. Good. Okay, so we're seeing the mark. Oh,
Mark, a little bit of
hold
movement.
on. We got some fancy animations. Animators of the world. Here's to you. What you do is magic.
Y'all bring your projects into Accelerator and show us, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Like the back end of the project, like
Yeah.
like in After Effects. I'm like, okay.
After Effects opens and I start running out of the room, like immediately sprint away. All right. So far, so good. I think that the work is strong. The mock-ups are really cool. My biggest suggestion so far is it feels, I don't know, the gray backgrounds on a lot of the mock-up templates that you buy or use from other platforms. I think they're meant to be replaced. And so I would rather see something either just on a completely white background or in context, because you see too many of these gray backgrounds and it starts to get just a bit monotonous.
I'm going to get nitpicky, as I do. You've made the claim that you're a digital first design studio, but I'm not seeing any digital here. So I think that's where you need to back up your claims with evidence. And if this project is not living up to that claim, I question if you are truly digital first and that is what you will always do for your clients, and you're owning that, this is either an opportunity to add this to this project or let it go.
Yeah.
I'm also not I'm not seeing the social media and web design. Like, it says that you did social media and web design, which is digital, but I'm not seeing it in the project.
So let me play devil's advocate for JP here. Maybe they're still working on the web design. Tell us that, right? Tell us that.
Just tell us that then, yeah.
Maybe the web design, the client who is probably the most amazing team of humans in the world, right? Maybe they drove it off a cliff. I don't know. Maybe the site design is just terrible.
Been there.
But
I think it needs some sort of, because if I'm looking at this from a client perspective and it says you did social media and web design and it's not there, I'm going to wonder why it's not there.
Right.
So we need to fill that gap in some way.
And so the way that you can fill the gap, if your clients drove the projects off the cliff and you're not happy with the way that the website turned out, do some spec work in addition to what was done for the client, and just explain, like, the client took the site in a different direction, but this is the direction that we were really, really proud of. And you can put that stuff in your case study as an option that you explored, but it didn't make the project. It's okay to still flex your web design skills, even if, we turned.
Oh, the second one of our clients, when we did offer web design, the second she messed with it herself, and I was like, dear God, I went into the case study and I updated the copy and I said exactly what you said. The client decided to go into a different direction, but this was the concept we developed and that we thought went with the brand for very, like, da 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 da.
Yeah. I'm also missing a case study, like the whole thing. Like, this is it. Having a couple of sentences about the client here is good. But I want process. I want to see all of the different elements described. I want to see little vignettes where you zoom into, why is this mark the way it is? Like, why did you make these decisions? It looks like a K. Maybe it's a sideways K or something. Like, what thought process went into the mark? Tell me that stuff, right? Because I'm missing a lot of the context, the contextual information around it. I also don't know what kratom is, so
yeah,
definitely tell me.
If it's that green stuff at the top that looks like matcha, I'm getting that picture clashes with the rest of the project for me. If that's
Yeah,
what the powder looks like, I just think we need to bring a bit more of that into the mock-ups that you've chosen. It could just be simply a mock-up decision.
but as far as the mark is concerned, I think it's really cool. Like that asterisk K
Mhm.
split thing. I think you nailed that. If anything is still in flex, I think that the one thing that you could do is make the asterisk just a little bit larger so that the thickness of these strokes are kind of matching the thickness of your logo type here. So that way it kind of carries a similar weight. Because it feels a little bit small. And then I don't think that this pipe is necessary in between those two. But I think that I mean it's hard. It's hard to come up with a logo type that's this simple because of all the work that has ever been done. We're kind of running out of simple shapes like this. So whenever I see something like this, I'm like, oh, nice. All right, let's go back here.
Where do you want to go?
I kind of want to let's check this architect one out. DTI Architects, Miami-based firm specializing in commercial retail multifamily, nearly 30 years, team of talented professionals, consistently impeccable, high touch, top level service. Cool. I love architects. You guys make terrible design clients, but I just love hanging out with you. Love hanging out with you.
JP says the client demanded blue, but do you have to show it as blue on your portfolio? Your portfolio does not have to always match the deliverable to the client. You
And
just have to
also the
explain it.
context around it. You know,
Mhm.
you can move things over to the ocean a little bit. Maybe it's green tropical leaves
Mhm.
in front of a blue ocean. Um, yeah. Okay. DTI. So we've got the mark. Got a great animation here. That's cool. Business card. I love seeing the work in context. I love seeing
Mhm.
this.
That's
This
my
is
favorite.
so cool. I remember when some of our work hit a construction wrap. Man, that was great. Such a good feeling. Um, once again, I'm just kind of missing I'm missing the case study. I'm missing the story. I'm missing
I
those
think we're
vignettes. I
also
want more.
we're also defaulting to the gray background on the mock-ups to where now all of your mock-ups are kind of blending together, where that's where I think that image of the wrap around the building is so much more impactful because it's a nice break from the
Mhm.
gray mock-ups.
Yeah. I didn't notice it this time just because it looked a little bit more on brand with the black and the yellow and the
Mhm.
dark grays in the actual brand.
Mhm.
Um, but now that you called it out, I totally see it. Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at the categories. So we've got branding, photography, signage, and web design. Signage, you nailed, right?
Yep.
Branding, I see it. Photography and web design. Let's take a look.
Web design was at the bottom.
Okay, this is good. I don't know this is enough to make me hire you as a web designer. So I think that uh, web design is tricky. I will admit it's tricky to showcase the design of a website because it feels monotonous, right? You're taking screenshots and it's the same thing over and over and over again. I think that the key to a great web design case study visual is being able to see the whole thing and then zooming in on details. And this is where animated graphics in here could really do something cool. Like maybe there's a neat way that the when you hover over the button, maybe there's a creative way that you had it fill to a different color for the hover state. Um, but being able to look at those small vignettes of the detail of the work is a good way to showcase your creative thinking as a web designer apart from just specifically full page screenshots. But we need more than one screenshot. So I would work with your animator and come up with some creative ways to showcase how the site is interacting. And I will throw it back to Benton Woodring. There's a hashtag on Twitter right now. It's Dare to Share 24. There are a ton of great examples of talented web designers who are showcasing their work, and the visuals that they're sharing are those little vignettes that I'm talking about. They're detail oriented, little pieces of flavor in an otherwise, huge screenshot. So that's the trick to showcasing web design. You show the whole picture and then you show details. But we need more than one shot.
And
we
I
need
think
to learn more about it.
for web as well, I'm not sure if this was a rebrand or a redesign of the website, but if it was a redesign of the website, perhaps showing some before and afters and the problems that you fixed in the website, because a lot of times if people need you to redesign their website, there's a reason why. And I don't know if this was a redesign or if this was a brand new company, but if it was a redesign, why? Why was it a redesign? What challenges did they have? And to tell the story of that.
Yeah, I agree. Here's another thing that everybody can do on their portfolio. Sometimes the client will send over a couple of images to use, especially in web design. They're never nearly enough. We're always left wanting more. But in your case study, it's okay to bring in additional images to make your work look great. And so, especially on the social media feed, fill this stuff here. And it's okay if it's, it can be stock, make it good stock, right?
Now, if you said you did photography for them, I'm also wondering where that photography is.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So if you did do photography, I think putting it in a phone, like in use, would be great.
Right there.
Right there. So I think photography is the one where I'm like, if that's the one image, it's a great image, but I think it's really showcasing the logo more than it is the business.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is be careful of reusing assets between mockups. So we want to, especially with case study imagery, we want to avoid fatigue, right? That's why the gray backgrounds kind of stand out. That's why using the same images in two mockups right next to each other, that stands out to me. There's something that I heard, I don't know if it's true, but somebody said that that dopamine is not the happiness hormone, it's the surprise hormone. It's seeing something new and fresh. And if you see the same thing over and over again, you're missing out on an opportunity to give the viewer a dopamine hit. So look at it through the lens of how am I keeping this case study fresh all the way down to the bottom? Am I switching things up enough? And I think if you freshen up those visuals like that, and then you add the context, the story around the projects, you're going to be in great shape because the work is good. All right, Steph, you want to go to the About page?
Yeah, let's go to About.
All right. We help companies connect with their audiences and drive growth through design.
Those are not clickable? Services. Okay.
No clicks.
Okay.
This would be great to click through and see a page that's just full of examples of those services.
You never know what people are going to want. And if they want photography, give them a page of photography.
I think I want a little bit more. I think that's really the through line on this entire site. I think the work is great. Needs to be framed a little bit better, but I'm wanting more information from you. What made a really good homepage, which got me into the work, I found myself wanting a little more and in not a very good way. And so, like I said, the work is great. Talk about it more. Talk about you more. Talk about the clients that you serve more. I would love to see photos of the team here, or you know, a big some kind of personality, right? Why is the skull and crossbones there? Let's get some of that in your about page. Don't leave me wanting. All right.
This is a personal thing. I like seeing the team on the about page. That's just that I like working with people,
Yes.
and I know there are different thoughts that it's all about the work, it's all about the client. Yes, but clients want to know who they're working with, and they want to, they want to catch that vibe. So I saw a really cool picture. It looked like Miami. I see that you've worked a lot in Florida. I know you're in Florida. You know, I want to see, like, do you guys all wear, like, do you guys eat Cuban sandwiches for lunch every day and wear Hawaiian shirts with the fedoras? Like, I don't know.
God, I
I
want a
think there's
Cuban
just,
sandwich
I
right
just, there's, we're almost done. You can go get a Cuban sandwich.
now.
I just think there's room for a little bit more vibe. I think your light, like, your vibe it's there. It's like saying, it's like whispering hi, but I think especially on an about page, I think Ben is a believer that you do not have to have one. I don't think you have to have one either, but I think the about page, even if you are very corporate, which I don't think you're very corporate, but you lean corporate, I think the about page is a place where you can have some fun and not necessarily, like, I've seen very corporate pages where if you scrolled over them, it's like their corporate picture, but then it's like they're at like a more fun, and it'll say like their favorite food, their favorite, their favorites, like, band, or just to give a little bit of the personality to the people the behind the company.
Don't let me click on something and be let down because there's not enough there. The vibe, the content, everything, right? I think that's the through line. It's like, flesh this out a little bit. Show yourself.
No one's ever not hired us that I know of because we have our dogs on our about page. It's normally like, oh my God, your dogs are hilarious.
All right, one last thing, and I forgot to mention this on Xavier's site too. At the bottom of your case study, this is fantastic. Having a call to action, contact us. If I'm not ready to contact you, have somewhere else for me to go. If you make me click the back button, then you might lose me, right? Because the cursor is dangerously close to going up here and typing in some other URL. So have an avenue. Maybe it's to another case study, maybe it's to a blog post or something down here where it's like, hey, if you're not ready to contact us, then here's the click.
Is the contact us, does that open up your email? Okay, so all right, cool. I would add this to your nav on the left side.
He's got an
Because if
email. This one opens up a mail
opens
client.
up the mail client, which I personally cannot. It just drives me nuts. You're not the only person that does it. Everyone does it. But I think I like having the email there because some people will just want to email you. But I think having a what's the CTA? Is it start a project or something like that?
Hit us up or contact us.
Something like that in your nav.
There.
Because they might
But
not have scrolled all the way down and they might want to contact you.
But JP, I'll say, you're on the right track. Like I said, I think just adding more, giving more context, more details, a nicer, more varied look at the visuals, and you're gonna be in great shape because the work is solid. All right, man, couple of
Whew.
great websites. Thank you guys so much. It's time for the giveaway, right, Steph?
Giveaway. And don't forget, if we have a tour going on Thursday, if you guys want to be there and learn more about the Accelerator program, that's how all of these people that we do these critiques every few weeks, that's how we choose. They are
Yes.
all Accelerator members, and this is one part of a much bigger program to help people launch and create a sustainable creative service business. So we have a tour of that program coming up on Thursday of this week if you're watching live or you're watching the replay. But that link also will work. You can watch the replay at any time.
That's right. So it's futureaccelerator.com/tour. We would love to see you there. It's going to be just like this. Me and Stephanie are going to be hanging out. We've got a slideshow, and then we'll do questions.
There's giveaways too.
There's also a giveaway. Yeah. And I appreciate that. It says Accelerator is amazing. These two individuals are the best and provide so much motivation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's get back to this giveaway. So
let's do it.
We're going to give away 2 copies. And the first 2 people to get this question right in the chat will win the style guide. So the trivia question is, you can tell that I'm making this up as I'm talking. I got it. Here we go. Name one of the athletes that Xavier designed a logo for. Name one of the athletes. Let's see how well we retain information. Who can remember the name of one athlete? The reason why this is cool is because we're all creative people, and like 92% of us cannot watch sports.
Yay. I don't even know. I don't even know if any of these are right. Darius Garland is one of them.
I remember that. Okay, so we had 2 Dariuses. That was close, but only Ollie said Darius Garland.
Was Jalen Turner? Was one of them Jalen Turner?
Xavier,
dude with the ball. That's what I thought. I was like, I know it was basketball.
I think he's right. I think Jalen Turner was one. So we'll give it to Zalvi. So
you watched Zalvi? Zach watched the Puppy Bowl last month. Good job. Good answer. Good answer.
Zalvi and Ollie, you guys send us an email. I'll put our email address in the chat, and we'll get you that copy of the style guide kit.
Congrats, guys. Oh, he says it was Jaylen Brown. You know what? I'm gonna call it close enough because that was close enough. Yay, sports.
All right, folks, that's it for us. Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget, head over to futureaccelerator.com/tour and sign up. You can join us live on Thursday or watch it afterwards to get the behind the scenes view of Accelerator. If you want feedback like this and to be surrounded by incredible, talented, amazing human beings just like Xavier and JP, Accelerator is the place to be. So, Steph, take them away.
Thank you. And we hope to see you guys all on Thursday, if not on another one of these happening in a few weeks.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.
Thank you for tuning in.